The legend of Atlantis has captured the human imagination for centuries. A prosperous and advanced civilization that disappeared beneath the waves in a single cataclysmic event has intrigued scholars, explorers, and dreamers alike. But is Atlantis a historical fact, a tangible city lost to time, or is it merely a work of fiction, a myth woven through the tapestry of human storytelling? In this exploration, we will delve deep into the mystery of Atlantis, examining the evidence, theories, and controversies surrounding its existence, and ultimately attempt to answer the age-old question: is Atlantis fact or fiction? Part 1: The Origins of Atlantis. To begin our journey, we must first trace the origins of the Atlantis myth. The most famous account of Atlantis comes from the Greek philosopher Plato, who wrote about the city in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC. In these texts, Plato describes Atlantis as a powerful and advanced island civilization located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the modern-day Strait of Gibraltar, which ultimately fell out of favor with the gods and was submerged beneath the sea in a single day and night. While Plato's account is the most well-known, it's important to note that he claimed to have learned about Atlantis from his ancestor Solon, who, in turn, had heard about it during his travels in Egypt. This suggests that the Atlantis story may have been passed down through oral traditions before Plato recorded it. Part 2: The Search for Atlantis. Over the centuries, countless explorers, scholars, and adventurers have sought to find the lost city of Atlantis. Their quests have taken them to various parts of the world, from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, and even as far as Antarctica. Yet, despite their efforts, Atlantis has remained elusive. One of the most famous attempts to locate Atlantis was undertaken by Ignatius Donnelly, an American author and politician, in the 19th century. Donnelly believed that Atlantis was a real, historical place, and he meticulously studied Plato's writings and other ancient texts to determine its possible location. He theorized that Atlantis was located in the mid-Atlantic, which is why it became known as the Atlantis hypothesis. However, Donnelly's theories were largely speculative and lacked concrete evidence. In the 20th century, the search for Atlantis took a more scientific turn with the advent of technology like sonar and underwater archaeology. Various expeditions were mounted in search of submerged structures that could be remnants of Atlantis. One such expedition was led by Jacques-Yves Cousteau, the famous French oceanographer, who explored the waters around the Azores in the mid-20th century but found no conclusive evidence of Atlantis. Part 3: Theories and Controversies. The quest for Atlantis has generated a multitude of theories and controversies over the years. Some researchers have suggested that Atlantis was not a single island but a confederation of islands, while others have argued that it may have been a part of a larger continent that sank beneath the sea. The location of Atlantis has been debated endlessly, with proposed sites ranging from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, the Canary Islands, and even as far afield as the Indian Ocean. One particularly intriguing theory is the idea that Atlantis could be linked to the eruption of the volcanic island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, around 1600 BC. The cataclysmic eruption of Thera sent tsunamis across the Mediterranean and may have had far-reaching consequences for the civilizations of the time. Some researchers believe that the destruction of Thera could have inspired Plato's account of Atlantis, although this theory remains speculative. Another theory suggests that Atlantis may have been a highly advanced civilization, possibly part of the Minoan civilization, which flourished on Crete and nearby islands around 2000 BC. The Minoans were known for their advanced architecture and seafaring abilities, and their mysterious decline has fueled speculation that they may be connected to the Atlantis legend. Despite the diversity of theories, one common thread runs through many Atlantis hypotheses: the idea that a catastrophic event, such as a volcanic eruption, earthquake, or tsunami, led to the submergence of Atlantis. This notion aligns with Plato's description of the city's demise in a single day and night. Part 4: Scientific Investigations. Geologists and archaeologists have examined geological and oceanographic evidence to evaluate the feasibility of various Atlantis locations. One area of interest is the submerged landmass known as the Azores Platform, in the mid-Atlantic. This region has drawn attention due to its geological features, including underwater plateaus and seamounts, which some researchers believe could be remnants of a sunken continent. Similarly, the Mediterranean has been a focal point of research, with some scientists exploring the possibility that a cataclysmic event, such as a massive earthquake or volcanic eruption, could have caused the flooding of coastal areas and islands, giving rise to the Atlantis myth. While there is evidence of ancient tsunamis and geological disturbances in the region, connecting them definitively to Atlantis remains a challenge. Part 5. The role of Plato's imagination. While many researchers have sought to find a real-world basis for Atlantis, some argue that Plato's account should be viewed more as a philosophical allegory or a fictional narrative rather than a historical record. Plato was a master storyteller and philosopher, and his dialogues often contained allegorical elements to convey deeper philosophical ideas. It is possible that he used Atlantis as a literary device to explore concepts such as the ideal state, the corrupting influence of power, and the consequences of hubris. Furthermore, the timing of Plato's writings is significant. He lived in a time when Greek society was undergoing significant changes, and Athens had recently suffered a devastating defeat in the Peloponnesian War. The fall of Atlantis in his narrative may have mirrored Athens' own decline and served as a cautionary tale. Part 6. Atlantis in popular culture. Regardless of its historical veracity, Atlantis has left an indelible mark on popular culture. The allure of a lost civilization with advanced technology, enigmatic relics, and a tragic demise has inspired countless books, movies, and television shows. Perhaps the most iconic modern depiction of Atlantis is Disney's animated film, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, which imagines an underwater utopia filled with advanced machinery and a rich, ancient history. This portrayal, like many others, blends elements of mythology, science fiction, and adventure to create a captivating narrative. In literature, authors such as Jules Verne and H.G. Wells have incorporated Atlantis into their stories, further perpetuating the myth. In Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Captain Nemo's mysterious undersea kingdom is sometimes seen as an Atlantis-like civilization hidden beneath the waves.